Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of On the Same Page, Lord Out with Friends. Today I'm joined by probably my best friend in the space, one of the kindest, sweetest beings I know.
Okay, we
Um,
need to lie.
it's not a lie. But Sin, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, hello. For folks who don't know me, my name is Sin. You can find me on the internet at sensationally.me, and I use they them pronouns.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else I'm supposed to say about myself.
No, I mean anything you want to plug, you can plug at the end. But yeah. So like I said before this started, I kind of asked the same general question to start these episodes off. So why don't you tell everyone how you got started playing tabletops in general, and then how that translated into all the stuff that you do now, whether it's like TikTok or APs or any of that kind of stuff.
Oh goodness. Oh. So I got into tabletop because of someone I was dating. Like the age-old story. But someone I was seeing at the time didn't even actually invite me to play D&D. He gave me rocks because he's like, "You like collecting shiny things, like little math rocks," and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
you're so
he's
right."
smart about it. He got you the dice first.
Yeah, and then like he would notice because like I tend to like fidget when I think and when I work, and he was just like, "Hey, you like kind of like click clacking them," and I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Do you want to try rolling them?" And I did. I was like, "You know how you could roll them more?" And I was like, "How?" He was like, "Do you want to play D&D with my friends?" And I was like, yeah. And, you know, it kind of just snowballed from there. Um, I went like the typical route where like your first D&D character is incredibly chaotic in that I made a tiefling with wings who went and just murdered men and fed them to my friend who had a meat cart.
Honestly, fair.
Honestly, still kind of a dream for me now.
It's
Like,
really, it's much better than my first character. My first character was the most man I've ever made. Um, I quickly got tired of that character and stopped playing it. And then I made the
um,
most feminine looking man known to man. I even had character art commission of them, and they did not look very masculine, and I love that for me.
the repression was real deep, huh, Paige?
Yeah, yeah, shut up.
And then I guess from there, what happened was this group was very fun. Like they're very goofy, very silly.
Hmm.
But you know how we like make the joke that BBE, like the real BBEG is like scheduling.
Yeah,
Um, so it went from being like, hey, like let's play all the time to suddenly let's play once a month, and then it was kind of getting canceled constantly.
yeah.
Um, and I was like, I'm addicted. I want to keep playing. So I started playing in game shops. And started eventually kind of playing by myself and like starting to GM even because I was like, hey, like
Hmm.
let me just try it. Especially because our home game, we realized the reason it was getting canceled so much was our GM was just getting so burnt out and was like, I don't want to run this anymore. I'm not having fun. So I just kind of kept doing that. And then the pandemic hit. And that's where I just like went like deep into lore dumping. That's when I like fell in love with D&D TikTok. I didn't at first.
Hmm.
I was absolutely one of those people who was like, TikToks for children. I'm not getting
I was the same way, honestly.
But then my partner at the time only sent me links of TikToks in our text messages, and it was getting really annoying. And he was like, if you just get TikTok, you can ignore me on TikTok and then keep our texting for texting, which is essentially what I did.
Hmm.
And I made a TikTok one day and it didn't like blow up, but it got like a lot. And then I just started meeting people and following people and seeing that like, oh, other people are into cosplay. And then I had never thought about the fact because I've always been into cosplay like since I was 13, but I never made that connection of like you could just cosplay your D&D character. And that's what I spent a lot of my time and money doing during the pandemic.
That's
Uh
so fair. I didn't get into D&D talk until after the pandemic. I fell into a West March and got very deeply involved in that. So I went a completely different route to D&D stuff.
Honestly, I think it was more so just because like the people around me only wanted to play D&D.
Hmm.
Um, and then like two separate kind of like things happened at once. One was like someone who lived near me but was on the internet was like, "Hey, do you want to play in a stream where we're raising money for like charities and stuff?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, I love charity and I want more opportunities to play." Um, that channel no longer runs because of like some internet drama. Um, and then the other thing was I met this amazing human named Lily Sparks who runs games
Hmm.
trying to create like diversity. And she ran like this really fun little summer camp D&D game. Uh, and through her, I got into Magpie Games, which is like they use a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse systems. They're really
Hmm.
well known for the Avatar: The Last Airbender game. She now works for them because she's an amazing, fantastic, lovely human, and I get to interact with Magpie and her through different conventions I go to.
Hmm.
The starting route, I guess it put me in view of a lot of people, and then I started just making a lot of mutuals with people who do content creation. And I mostly just kind of guest star on things. I'm not super in a content creation role myself. In
Hmm.
my like personal stuff with D&D and tabletops, I do a lot more like drama and role play therapy in my work. And that's where we're kind of at now. I exist on the internet, I jump on when friends invite me, and then I like just enjoy TTRPGs.
I love that though. Eventually, I will have you in a game. We still have not played together, or even like one of us GMing for the other yet. It needs to happen
I
at some point.
I know, I feel like our schedules have never aligned, and like I know technically, and it's not out yet. But we're supposed to be doing a game later
I
sometime
don't
this
know if
year.
that game's still happening. I haven't heard anything about it since the email initially.
Me neither, but like technically we're supposed to ship it.
Yeah, it's in the works. It probably will die before arrival, but it's out there in the ether.
You know what? That's the nature of APs and like any kind of recorded like game.
Yeah, honestly, it's so hard to get people scheduled. I've been going more and more just like pulling specific people in first before I go to open calls because it's just so hard to fit shit around people's schedules and get stuff set up anymore.
Yeah, being in grad school currently has like sucked my time of getting to play, and it's emotionally devastating.
I'll figure out a one shot at some point so you can have a break and play for a few hours. um, with that, I guess, is there any systems that you haven't played yet that you want to try out still? I mean, I know there's like
Um,
a million out there because there's new indie systems like I feel like every week, but
gosh, I don't know. It's one of those things, where it's like you don't know what you don't know you're missing out on.
that's fair.
Does that make sense? I think though there are like I can say that there are systems I for sure want to explore more. Like the interlock system for like Cyberpunk 77
Ooh,
or like Cyberpunk Red.
yeah.
I I got to GM like that game on 5% chance, but it's like that was my only time that I got to play it and I was GMing, which is fine. Like I love GMing, but I was like I want to just be a chaotic little guy.
Yeah,
I also want to do a heist.
I loved the character creation of that system. I did a one shot for it. And I think everyone else chose one of like the easier modes of character creation. I was like, no, I'm gonna do the full customization one. I spent like a whole day just creating my character.
But like truly like character creation and the mechanics behind it are so fascinating.
Hmm.
Like because it can be like the simplest thing with like those one-page RPGs to something as complex as Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Where it's and like I also love the experience um points that you can get in Cyberpunk with like
Hmm.
how much you're role playing, how much you're engaging in the story. And I love the breakdown of like you can get XP from role play, you can get XP from actions and like actually reaching goals. And I was like, that is so cool to me.
Yeah, I do love when there's like rewards set up to promote you to do role play or to have good moments at the table. Because a lot of experience systems are kind of random, or they're just like if you fail a roll, which Powered by Apocalypse does good with that because it lets you fail forward. But sometimes it's just like here's some points, you can just go spend them, and there's no like reason why you're getting them. So
Well, have you heard of Delta Green?
I have it's on my list of stuff I want to play soon.
Um, I've absolutely fallen in love with it. So my home game right now is taking a break. just because myself and another person are in grad school and
Hmm.
like we haven't had the whole group in a while, and it's kind of like we're at these really big emotional points where we're like we don't want to
Yeah,
keep going without these people. Um, so we've been playing Delta Green, and like I still haven't played Call of Cthulhu, to be honest. I've read it, I own
I've
books for
played
it.
and run Call of Cthulhu. I have not touched Delta Green yet, so.
So from what I'm understanding from the reading differences, is like one thing I like about Delta Green is how like the failure and success system works
Mm,
compared to like Call of Cthulhu, where it's like it's a percentile,
yeah,
because they both are like a D100 roll system. But
yeah. I
I
think they
love this.
used a similar base system, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, so Delta Green was actually supposed to be kind of like a spin-off of Call of Cthulhu.
Hmm.
Um, and I love it because it's like it's doubles. So you fail by doubles. So if like your score is 50 and you get 66, 55, 77, that's a fail.
Hmm.
Versus like 11, 22, 33, 44 are like your successes. And I think it's like a really fun, easy way to remember it.
Yeah,
Um, the leveling up system is like I find it fascinating because it's built really well for one shots, but it's also got really good mechanics for like long-term story.
that makes sense. And it's something that you don't typically think about in horror games is like long term because a lot of the time in Call of Cthulhu, you might die in the first session, honestly.
Yeah, and I think it's because like the difference is like Call of Cthulhu, you're just like a normal guy.
Yeah, you're just
Um,
someone random.
Whereas like Delta Green is kind of the same, but like you're sleeper agents. So like
Hmm.
when we were building characters, it's like you have to figure out what happened in your backstory that made you notable to them. Because it's kind of like SCP and
Yeah.
like here's some agents out here.
Yeah, it's more
Uh
like you guys are all trained professionals, no matter what you build. At the core of your being, you guys do know what the fuck you're doing to an extent, as opposed
yeah.
to Call of Cthulhu, where you could be just some random ass journalist who got pulled into something. Which I played
Yeah.
that character; it was great.
But it's fun though. The thing I really love about Delta Green is like so your empathy score
Hmm.
um kind of decides how many relationships you can have.
Ooh.
And so it's kind of like to use bonds. And you can spend bonds throughout it, but the bonds then lessen your relationship with that person. So like in one of the games I played, I played a stay-at-home dad. Um and to like listen,
I didn't say anything.
I just wanted I'm just trying to live my dream life through games. Okay, these are fantasy games.
Yep, sin is a dad archetype. It's a common thread, I think.
Well, so the really cool thing with Delta Green is it gives you lore for the rest of the world because Delta Green
Hmm.
is supposed to be a US organization. So there's a Canadian one called M Epic. And so like I was playing like Canadian like stay-at-home hockey dad living in British Columbia. It was like fantastic.
I love that
Uh
so much.
but the amount of times I failed a roll and I had to use bonds with my wife.
Oh.
And like it made sense like thematically because like I'm constantly gone. Like yes, I make sure all my duties are done, but I'm gone. I'm not
Hmm.
making the time for my wife. And it's really cool because then in the downtime you have to role play out what that means for your relationships.
That's that sounds really interesting. So it gives you a way to like mechanically use that, but like it strains them as you go. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it hurts me every time I have to roleplay my wife being mad at me. It's so hard.
Yeah, that's a little too real for me right now, but I don't think I would ever give a character a spouse for a while, I think.
Listen, I mean, like, someone has to be home to watch my child when I'm not there.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean, but you're the stay-at-home dad. What about her job? God, Sin, so selfish of you.
I know, that's why the bonds are breaking down.
Pulling her away from her career. How selfish of you.
Listen, I was an arborist. I decided to be a stay-at-home father to support her, okay? I gave up my career.
Oh God, I love that so much. Though I really love systems that are more RP heavy anymore. Like I love D&D, but I don't play it as much as I used to when I first started getting into tabletops.
Have you ever done like solo RPG ones?
No, I've not done solo ones yet. I have a God Killer campaign, which is slow, so 101 with one of my friends set up. Like we're supposed to start it soon, and we started building plot, and we spent like 6 hours like planning out this game. It's gonna be so traumatic for the both of us, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I haven't played God Killer yet. It's one of those things where like the first time I play it, I want to make sure I have hours to play. Because like right now I only have pockets of like two to
Yeah.
three hours, and I'm like, that's not enough. I'm an addict
Yeah,
anymore.
God Killer specifically is a game you want to have time because that's a very deep storytelling game.
Yeah. But no, I mean like solo RPGs, like there's like ones where it's like the other player is like a deck of cards or dice.
Ooh,
So like
pretty cool.
there's a horror one called Amnesis. I never say it right.
Mm.
But like you're walking through a house and you draw cards to determine what happens next in the plot and you have to like
Oh,
journal
that's
through
so.
it.
There's one. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. Let me see if I can find it. Um, D&D Imposter did a one shot of it to promote it. It's like Brink of Ohio or something.
Ooh.
Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, you are the darkness at the brink of Ohio. It's created by Banana Chan. Um, and I watched that because I watched it at first just because the title is like, this is okay. It's Ohio based. Okay, cool. Which when they did it, so many references in the source material itself, it was giving me like PTSD. I was like, I know these locations. But yeah, it's just like this, like you're a character and you pick like where you're at, where you're listening to this radio show. You're going through your night as like during your night shift, and this radio show just gets worse and worse and worse, and more eldritch as you go into the night, and you get to like choose how you react to everything as you go, and it's just so good. I want to do that. I don't know if it's out yet because I know it was in Kickstarter when they ran it. I need to look up if it's out yet because I definitely want to buy that and run that on stream one night.
That'd be cool. Have you did you see the Kickstarter for what is it? Hunter Hunted?
Oh yes, I did. It's like another one-on-one game, right?
Yes. So I got to demo it with like Dan the Baker.
Okay.
Fantastic because like it's just rolling 2d6 and it's your turn when you roll doubles. So you're literally racing to like
Ooh.
roll doubles before the other person. They have a cool alternate mechanic, which is like there's that T-shaped thing, and it's
Hmm.
like the little metal rings, and you have to like throw it to like hook it, and whoever hooks it, it's their turn. And it's really fun because it's like you switch between the perspective of the hunter and the hunted, back and forth based on who gets all the rolls.
Ooh. That
Um,
sounds really cool.
yeah, I don't know when that's out yet, but we should play it because it's like
I would definitely play that.
it's so funny because I feel like you could either play for hours based on how long it takes you to roll doubles or like run through it so fast
That's so fair.
because it's one of those like meter things in the middle where it's like there's 5 spots and the
You
game
want to kind
ends
of
when
pull,
the
yeah, because I saw that because it has that ultimate kind of use that like ring game, right, where you throw it and you
yeah,
connect and then you like move the thing up.
yeah.
Yeah, that
So
makes
it's like
sense.
because like I thought it was gonna be a quick little thing because I was like, oh yeah, like I roll ones all the time. There's no way that I wouldn't just get 2 1s. Listen, we know I'm cursed.
My dice rolling is so weird. If I'm a player, it's so spotty. Like it'll be really good at the one thing I build into, but if it's a normal roll, it's so average. It's so like all over the place. But when I GM, I roll so good. I've done this on like virtual tabletop, regular dice, no matter what. It does not seem to matter. I always roll really high as a GM. So I've also been playing more systems where I don't roll when I run because I'm so scared of just killing the party so early in a game because it's happened. I've done like beginner games for people and double crit with disadvantage, and I'm like, you fucking kidding me? What the hell's going
Yeah, I'm
on?
just consistently bad.
It's okay.
The worst is like it's all caught on streams or on a podcast somewhere, and I'm like, all right, I love
So
this
I'm
for
gonna
me.
when I bring you on a channel, I'm gonna bring you into a very dice heavy game just so I can enjoy it for myself. I'll bring you into like a roll of darkness game, something you need to roll like a dice pool just to see how bad you really roll.
Oh no, no thanks. No, I think there's one game. I rolled 4 nat 1s in a row,
God.
2 of them being like on an advantage roll, and I was like, I hate this for me.
Yeah, I've never I've I've rolled double nat 20s at disadvantage. I've never done the opposite. I've never rolled that double nat ones at advantage
Um,
before.
you know, sometimes the dice choose who they love, okay? What's it like being God's favorite?
I don't know. It's pretty nice, actually.
I was like, actually, I recently, I still have to mail you your dice. I just haven't looked at mailing costs because
You are
mail
so
is
fine.
expensive.
You live in a whole nother country. There's no rush.
Well, like, so my friend's birthday recently happened, and in person, I gave him a set of dice.
Hmm.
Um, and so like, friends I've made dice for have asked me to wear gloves while I'm making them. Like obviously during the pouring process, but not during the painting process. I usually don't, but they're like, "Can you please?" And I didn't do it for this friend because I just forgot because I was
Yeah.
like a little bit rushed for this birthday gift. And like I want you to know like this was a four-leaf clover set of dice. So like I
And they
took four
roll
leaf
shit.
so like I collected four-leaf clovers throughout my life, right? And I pressed them and I gifted them. I put them so beautifully. My friend has not rolled higher than a two or a three, depending on the
I
die.
love that. I
It's
want you to touch the dice before you send it to me. I want a I want a pet set of dice that will actually roll bad for me. So I can use them for story beats. Like I want to roll bad sometimes and it never happens when I want it to.
I listen. How about you just call me and I'll roll? Like just call me in the middle of a game. I'll
Be
roll
like,
and
okay,
then
give
I'll
me a second to roll. I just call you.
be like, guys, hold up.
Hold on. I'm gonna phone a friend. 1 second.
Like it's so bad. Like I've crit a few times, but it's always doing like silly goofy shit and never like here's a crucial moment.
That's been me on fucking Baldur's Gate. Like all of my crits have been in moments that are not crucial whatsoever. Like random ass like throwaway conversation choices. I'm like, really? Now? Like I think I've crit on the us scene on the ship like 10 times over different playthroughs. And I'm like, that's so unneeded.
Like I don't need this. I'm good,
The
thanks.
DC is a 5. What the fuck's going on?
Because they know you've played. They're like, oh yeah, nat 20, easy.
Yeah, it's wild. Or like when you crit on the fucking Shadow Heart open in the chamber thing, because it's literally a 2. You don't just not a
Yes.
not nat 1, and I roll a nat 20 so many times that I replay that scene. It's like, really?
And
We're
you're
gonna
like, all
waste
right,
that?
cool, thanks,
Like,
I
it's cool. I
guess.
really succeeded at saving my wife. I did not need that high of a roll, though.
See, my thing is like digital dice are actually pretty nice to me, but I don't like
It's not as
digital dice.
satisfying. I can't do it. Like, I will do it if I have to, but literally most streams I've been in don't care.
See, I just feel like the digital dice are like giving me nepotism luck because I'm so nice to my devices. I feel like they're just being like, you deserve this. And I'm like, no, I want to earn it.
You're so nice to your tet that they roll good for you.
I don't think you understand. I do like little spa days to clean my phone.
Oh my god.
She deserves it. Listen, she has a crack because I've dropped her so many times that I gotta make up for it with other
Yeah,
things.
I have the foldable phone and I've already broke this case like all over the back. It's all cracked off.
Okay,
I need to get a new case for it really bad.
I still am like so afraid because I do need a new phone. I've had my phone for almost like 6 years,
Hmm.
and it's like it's still pretty good condition. It's just one of those things where like when a phone is old and it doesn't like update.
Yeah, because
So,
they want you to buy a new phone every 2 years.
but I'm so afraid because I want a foldable phone, but I'm like, what if I sit on it? It just like breaks.
It will not break. It's very sturdy. I have literally sat with it in my back pocket. It's fine. I
You're
definitely recommend.
so
It's such a you would love it. It's such a fidget. Like the amount of times I sit there folding my phone and playing with it. It's so nice. I'm kind of upset though, because right after I got this, the sits came out like 2 months later, and I was like, oh, you fucking kidding me? I should have waited and got a brand like the brand new one.
yeah. I'm also like at that weird precipice where I'm like, do I keep going iPhone just because like my school devices are Apple
Hmm.
or
I
like
can't do Apple. I switched
I
to Samsung around I think after the iPhone 7 maybe, and like I can't go back. Samsung's just so much further ahead hardware wise. Every time iPhone adds something on their hardware, I'm like, yeah, I've had that for like 3 years now.
yeah, that's the thing is like I really want like a Google like Pixel.
Yeah.
But like the thing is just like the compatibility right now is so easy for school because like all I have to do is like send it to my iPad and my iPad streams to like the thing when I'm doing lectures.
Apple's very good at everything that they have functions really well together, but they
It,
also only function well with each other. Is the problem too.
yeah. It's even pretty good with laptops. They're not really good
Okay.
with like other devices, but like as someone who's like doing a lot of presentations and like
Yeah.
ADHD stuff, they do have a lot of really good apps actually for like focus and stuff compared to like Androids, which is something I
Gotcha.
appreciate.
Makes sense. Yeah. I just can't. I can't do it. People are have to deal with the green bubbles. I only have like a handful of friends that have Samsung, so they just got to deal with it.
You're like, yeah,
Whenever I have messaged someone and actually see that my message has been delivered and read, and I'm like, wait, does this is a Samsung user? What the fuck? They exist in the wild?
wait, people have their delivers and reds on.
Some people do. It's weird. Like my one cousin does. I switched to
That's
only talking
brave.
to him on Snapchat, but like before I did, I could actually see when he would read my text, and it was so wild to me. It's like this is
That's
weird.
that's so brave. I am absolutely the person who's like, yeah, I'll read it and I'll respond, and then I don't respond.
Yeah, when I did have iPhone, this shit was off. I did not enjoy that at all.
Listen, I don't need people to see my ADHD in live action.
I don't need to people see that I live on my phone and see all their shit gets read immediately when they send it. Listen, I can't have notification bubbles on anything. As soon as they're up, I need to clear. Like I'm struggling really hard not to clear my phone. Like I felt my phone buzz like 5 times,
See, you can turn that off though.
but I can't because I know it's still gonna be there.
Yeah, at that point, that's a you thing.
It is a me thing. I understand
You
and I
can
accept it. It's fine.
you can turn off like the bubbles because like I check my email all day, every day otherwise, even if it's like the stupid like here's a sale.
Yeah, I just go into my email, see if there's anything important to read, and then I just go click all unread and read just to clear them out.
No, I think I've um lived past that just solely because like I have so many emails from research projects and so many Discord notifications. I'm so unbothered now when I see a red dot.
Yeah, Discord's a problem for me. I have everything grouped into it, so I can some of them I don't really care about it much, so I can just mark red the whole group. But like all the specific ones, like Ivy server and my server and a couple other servers, I'm like, I gotta go in and actually click on these and clear them out.
And you're like, "Mm."
Yeah, it's an issue. But we are almost at the halfway point, at least the first 30 minutes. So why don't we turn it over to you and you can
Oh
talk about your
God.
topic for today?
Oh goodness. Okay. I do want to preface this with this is going to be a slight rant and not just like a lord.
That's fair. Just you talk about whatever you want to talk about in whatever way you want to talk about it.
Okay. Because like just for your context and for like anyone listening, I am currently in grad school studying public health policy and social work. But my particular area of interest is like grief. Um, which is like I don't know. I like to make it fun and like light, but some people are like, "Oh God, it's a heavy topic." But
Mhm.
I'm gonna start this with I think we live in a very like grief and death denying society in the sense that like we are so avoidant of those things and we are so terrified to talk about them that we just kind of avoid them until it happens.
Mhm.
Um, which is so wild to me because like death and like is not the only form of grief. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Like, I feel like so many people, when they think grief, they're like, oh, it equals loss, and loss equals death. And like, that's too hard for me to talk about. Which is like, for some people, that is totally fair and valid. But I think to know what love is in your life is to know what grief is. Because like, I view grief as love with nowhere to go. I
Mhm.
think it is very much like a loss of something that you once held love for or care for that is no longer there.
Yeah,
And like,
definitely loss, but I don't think that necessarily always has to mean death. But I think that's just where people go to when they think of grief.
well, it's like one thing I'm really looking at right now is like how to grieve the loss of a relationship, particularly for like queer folks. And I know
Hmm.
that this is a little bit relevant right now, so like if it is like gets heavy, I can switch to a different area.
You were so
But it's
fine.
like we don't talk about what it means to lose things as we grow, because like even in typical development as you go through life stages, when you're like in middle school, your relationship with your parents change, because like you're at that weird age where you're like, I'm independent, and your parents are not ready for that independence. And like how do you grieve the loss of what that relationship used to look like?
Hmm.
And like I don't know, I think that like I'm of the belief that like we need to become a grief literate society, in the sense that like we know how to handle grief, we know how to talk about grief, and we know how to support grief, because I think health in that sense is like the community's responsibility. Not to say that like health professionals should not be engaged, but I think we're all responsible for it, because like studies have shown, the more socially connected you are, the more likely you are to recover from different health situations, depending on what it is that you're going through. And like when we talk about fires,
Hmm.
we talk about like safety procedures before a fire happens. We learn like stop, drop, and roll. We learn like these are like evacuation routes. When we get on a plane, before the plane takes off, they start telling you all the safety procedures if the plane is going down, what to do. But grief is so taboo, to the point where we treat it as a crisis in the moment, and only in the moment. So it's like if you didn't train firefighters until a fire happened, is how we treat grief.
Hmm.
And it's so wild to me that we don't want to talk about, because then like I personally for like many years was so ill prepared on how to like handle grief with somebody, right? Like because like I absolutely was that friend in middle school where like if my friend like broke up with her boyfriend, I would do that weird head pat thing and be like, there girl, you're okay.
Yeah, I definitely did not. I'm still learning how to deal with grief in general now that everything's happened last year. Like I don't think, because growing up I had to be very, manly. So like I wasn't allowed to talk about like any type of emotion, let alone grief. So it was just a wild thing to deal with. A lot of self like isolation
Mhm.
with it and just avoidance.
And then it's weird because like when you're ill prepared and someone that you care about is grieving, often the things you do are things that make you feel better. You're not
Hmm.
actually learning how to like handle other people's. Like most people when they hug you when they're crying, it's not because the hug is helping. It's that it's stifling the cry and it makes people feel less awkward about the cry.
Hmm.
Like, it's one of those things where like I think that there is so much joy in grief. It's how you find it. Particularly like again with like the queer community, we constantly talk about like how we all come together because of the suffering that our communities experience,
Yeah.
or at least like our sub communities. But like, why aren't we celebrating the joys that we share? Because like, as someone who's like gender queer, but I don't necessarily identify with femininity or masculinity,
Hmm.
I can still celebrate in the fact that like a friend of mine is feeling like feminine joy in her transness, or a friend is feeling like masculine joy in his transness, because like we all understand the experience of dysphoria, so we can all understand the joy of overcoming that feeling, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense. I've literally have had you do that for me, so multiple times.
Well, because it's like it's one of those things where it's like I think the biggest part of like social change in any area is like overcoming the sense of loss and grief together. Like that
Hmm.
resiliency is built through our connection of joy and storytelling,
Yeah.
right? Like, because like as a community, like to make it a little sad for a second, like when the Pulse shooting happened,
Hmm.
just because I like we didn't know those people doesn't mean you can't grieve for that loss.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't like feel the pain that these people feel for their community. But to also go the other way, like I love seeing pride, even if they're not local pride communities to me, because like to see the joy of people getting to just feel safe in who they are is like such a good and loving feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's such a shared experience, even when you see it with people that you don't know, because like you can relate to that. And like sometimes you might not be in a situation where you can be openly with that stuff, either whether it's at work or in your personal life or anything like that. So like seeing that shared joy is nice to just bask in, even if you're not there yourself.
Yeah, and I don't know, like this is why I'm like I don't view grief as like a sad thing because there's so much good that comes with it.
Hmm.
Like, sorry, my brain is doing the whole like, how do I translate this into the sentence I want?
You were so fun.
But like one thing I talk about a lot is like the youth of today, and it's weird to say youth because I don't always feel like I'm an adult, but like I am
I
no
don't
longer a
either.
youth. And it's seeing youth social movements through grief is so fascinating because I think a lot of people don't consider the role that grief and loss plays when it comes to activism and like the ability to grow.
Hmm.
Um, because there is like such a tight relationship between like how we respond to grief and how we do that to build hope and like social change. If that like does that make sense so far? I know like when I get excited, I start
You're making perfect sense. You can keep going. You're good.
like um like with Black Lives Matter, I can't speak 100% to the American movement because like I know the big general points, but I'm not
Hmm.
obviously entrenched in American culture. But like where I am in Canada, when a lot of anti-blackness splurged in the city that I was attending school at happened, there were so many different groups of like black communities from different areas of the world that came together and built community.
Hmm.
And it created this lovely, beautiful space that was not only safe for black folks in Hamilton, but just for people who were on the margins of society or margins of what is considered like quote unquote normal or typical. And it's that like we all feel the same emotions. It's just like our experiences that lead us there are different. And like grief, I think, is such a big unifying thing that brings us together.
Hmm.
And I just I don't know. I love it and I think we should talk about grief more. Obviously, it is weird to talk about grief and be smiling and laughing, but it's like even when you think in like the most like quote unquote normal sense, when you go to a funeral
Hmm.
for someone that people care about, most of the time you talk about how you know this person. You talk about like the good and the joy and like the moments that you shared with someone, and people can resonate with that.
Yeah. Grief can
And like,
definitely like unite people because you shared this feeling, especially when it's over something that you all can relate to. Like especially in both like marginalized communities, whether it's for like race or sexuality or gender and that stuff, it's like a shared emotion that you all have to deal with this grief and like the stuff that came from identifying as that way or like just the way you grew up or different aspects of yourself that you either are at birth or figure out as you go.
yeah, and it's so fascinating because I think when we just think about grief, we think about crying and being
Hmm.
sad, but there are so many ways that people grieve. And this is gonna be a side tangent for a second because I think the five stages of grief are complete BS. I think that they should not be a thing. I think they are just a very weird need to categorize things like perfectly, which is
Yeah, I haven't did a lot of googling about those five stages for the last 2 years.
no, they're completely BS because they like imply that there's like this linear like healing process,
Hmm.
but like I don't think you're ever gonna live a life without grief,
Yeah.
right? Like you like I call them big grief, like big G grief and little G grief, right? Like there's big G and little G grief that you have throughout your life. Like the feeling of saying that you're gonna have plans with someone and they cancel. That is little G grief. And you that
Hmm.
is valid to feel. Like and I think because we just kind of be like, oh well they're my friends, so I just have to let go of it. It doesn't actually address the feelings that you feel. And I think we need to just feel our feelings sometimes. I feel like we're afraid to feel things.
Yeah, makes sense. It's
Like
like that's the biggest thing I'm learning under my transition.
good.
Honestly.
Feel them.
Warning, estrogen makes you emotional, people. Very.
Um, I can say
God.
from experience, so does testosterone.
Yeah,
I
testosterone's a whole different aspect to it. It's a weird dynamic going from one to the other.
okay, so I'll this is a little thing first. I know that this is a lore dump, but like
Lore
I
dump's more for the theme. It's just info, whatever, dump
info
about a
dumping.
topic. Yeah.
Well, okay, so like, I would identify someone who had a lot of anger growing up.
Hmm.
But being raised female and like being socialized as a woman growing up, it was that very innate like inner anger where you just had a lot of anger at yourself and just like would have little outbursts occasionally is how adults in my life would describe it. I'm no longer on it just for health reasons, but I was doing T gel for a while.
Hmm.
The testosterone anger is real. I didn't know this, and people are
Yep.
like, "Yeah, that was me in middle school as like a boy growing up." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what? You just get angry like this? How do
Yep.
you live like this?"
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing for me too. Because like when I started using estrogen, like all of my emotions got amplified. My anger went down a lot. That particularly, like I don't really get super angry anymore. Like it has to build. Like I used to get angry so much, but when I was just still a cis male, like middle school and high school was bad. Like it was not fun growing up with that at all.
Honestly, I joke about this. I don't actually think this, but I'm like, man, if I had continued, I'm like, I would have absolutely been like a true like F boy Kevin Nguyen. Like I wouldn't like it wouldn't even be a meme. It
Okay,
would just be
you have
real.
the aesthetic, so it makes up for it.
God.
Sin is my favorite F boy. Everybody, it's
Like
okay.
it's the worst part was I realized this. I took a friend out for her birthday the other day,
Hmm.
and I'm like driving, and like I hold hands with my friends, and then I'm like, "Hey, girl, you want boba?" And she's like, "Yeah, Kevin, let's go." And I was like, "Stop!"
Oh my god.
I purposely did not wear my gold chain tonight too, because I was like, "Paige's gonna call me out on it."
Whenever I come to visit you, I'm gonna dress so overly femme when we go out and do stuff, just so you can look even more of a fuckboy.
Oh my God. Like it didn't help. So like yesterday I also went for dinner with a friend and it didn't help that she recently dyed her hair.
Hmm.
So she has like money pieces and it's the exact same shade of gray as my hair is now.
Oh, that's so cute.
So like we look like an ABG and an like Asian F-boy couple and I'm like, "Dang."
I love that for you so much.
I don't. I was like, "We're going through Chinatown right now." Like I was like, "Karen, I'm so sorry."
You just gotta accept it. You just gotta accept that's your style now. It's your aesthetic.
Yeah. I've been told the only reason people know I'm like queer is because the hair's gray and it's not just black. And I was like, okay, so I can never grow my hair out natural. Got it. Great.
I mean, to be fair, you switch your hair color like every month, so
Excuse you. I actually I can't tell. This has only been a month.
you've sent me multiple messages all the time. Like I'm thinking about this color or this color or this color. I don't try to hide the fact that it's
Listen, Paige,
true.
it's how I grieve, okay? Let me grieve how I
Yes,
grieve.
I know. I had a very grief-stricken message from you where you just fucking dyed your hair in the middle of the night. I understand. I get it.
How else are people supposed to know I'm gay?
It's okay. It's okay. We're a safe space here. It's fine.
Actually, it's so funny. I recently grieved this loss actually.
Hmm.
Um, in the sense that like I realized I can no longer come off as like straight passing just because like I do live in a place that's not always like super kind to queer individuals. And
Yeah.
so like I was like I've always thought to myself, yeah, I could pass as like straight enough.
Hmm.
I said that as a passing comment like a couple weeks ago and someone was like, "Oh, honey, no." And this was like my hair's grown out since, but this was when my mullet was in full fat, like full form, and everyone's like,
Hmm.
"Listen, you have a mullet and it's green." And I was like, I know. I'm I'm thriving. I'm living. Let me live.
Yeah, I still go to India occasionally to see Halloween in them, so I still have enough outfits in there that I can boy mode pretty easily when I go to visit them. Um, Depending on what we're doing, like if I know we're gonna be around the city, then I will fully wear like a sweater and jeans and slick the hair back so it's more masculine and shit before I go there.
So this is, and you can totally like pass on this question. How how do you feel in those moments when you have to do that? Because like I used to hate doing that, where I was like, I have to look a little straighter.
Um, it's a little dysphoric, but I think it's more. I don't know. I think I'm more used to it because I did it for so long in Ohio before I was able to move out here. Pretty much the whole time until I moved, I was did not really wear anything feminine out in public at all. I think except for Gen Con and Pats and like other events where I was around their friends. Otherwise, I wouldn't. I literally kept a lot of my male clothes up until like a couple months before I moved, before I fully like purged my closet one last time. So,
Yeah, like that's something I've always been curious for like other folks because I know everyone's got like very different answers,
mhm.
especially like based on aesthetic. Because I know like our lovely friend Crystal, she's got such a like wide variety of like
Yeah,
aesthetic that like her dressing mask doesn't really bother
yeah,
her.
Crystal's definitely a lot more comfortable in their gender than I am so far. But
To
they've
be fair,
also been doing it all. They've been transitioning a
yeah,
lot longer, so it's
I was
totally
gonna
fair.
say Crystal's been there a little while longer.
Yes, it's so weird because like we both got adopted into the same family. So like I'm their older sister technically, but most of the time it doesn't feel that way.
Um, I was gonna say technically I would say Crystal is older than you.
What, by maturity levels?
No,
Because I'm
she's
older age wise.
she's been transitioned longer, so she started back at that age, okay?
Yes, I've already did trans girl math. I'm 32, but I'm technically the equivalent of a 12-year-old girl right now. So I'm actually 22 if you average that out.
Oh my God. So I am older than
You
you.
are. What can I say?
Because I've been like
I'm just baby.
I've been on this journey for like what? Like, oh God.
Yeah, all of my friends
I
are
don't
in
want to
their
think about that
most of
anymore.
my friends are in their mid 20s. So it's like,
Okay, can we talk about them being babies? And I'm like, dang. All right.
yeah, I have a handful like Maddie and Percy and a couple of people that are like 22 to 23 and I'm like, what the fuck? Like you're younger than like my birth sister and it's so weird to me
Listen,
stuff.
there's people who say they're born 2000 and I'm like, don't continue that sentence. Don't even say the
Yeah.
end, okay? I don't want to hear this.
Anyone born 2000 or makes me feel so fucking old.
You know what? There it is. See, we're grieving. We're grieving
We
our
are.
youth.
We're grieving that we're old.
Yeah, oh my gosh, what was it the other day? I was talking to someone on this research project actually
Hmm.
about how much more fascinating library search engines are. I'm like, I'm so glad they revamped them because like they're so much more efficient, especially when you're like looking up abstracts, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
And she was just like, yeah, it's been that way for a while. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was in school and it was awful. And she's like, when'd you graduate again? And I was like, undergrad or like what? And she was like, yeah, the first
Yeah.
time. And I was like, oh, like 2017. And she was like, yeah, they revamped it 2019. You're just old.
Yeah,
And
I
I was like,
graduated high
oh,
school in 2010, and I've definitely seen that development over time.
it's really funny because my partner will sometimes occasionally bring up stuff that happens in like 2004 as like a high schooler, and I'm like, yeah, I was in fourth grade, my dude.
2004, what grade would I have been in?
Seventh, I think, if I'm
I
doing math
started
right.
high school in 2006, so I would have been starting seventh grade that year.
Yeah, I was like, if I'm doing my math right, because we're only like 3 years apart,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I would have been in middle school for sure. Middle school was fun. we don't
Mine
need
was not.
we don't need to dive into that.
To be fair though, middle school was when I found TTRPGs. I never played them because I had no friends, but I read them.
I didn't dive into them at all until COVID. I've only been
I
playing
was
tabletops for like 5 years now. I didn't really ever like I always thought they were interesting, but also a lot of nerdy stuff growing up was not encouraged to do. Like video games I could get away with to an extent, but it was mostly like, hey, you should go play sports or fuck girls. Like that's all you should be doing. Like that's what every guy in our family was expected to do.
I mean, you're doing one of those.
I'm not doing either right now. Actually, to be
Hey, but to be fair, you're taking that break. That's different.
God damn it.
I'm just saying, you didn't technically break all their expectations.
Yes, I'm still very into girls. It's just in a very gay way now.
Yeah, but that's on them for not specifying.
Yeah, they didn't specify. It is on them. It's all their fault, honestly. How dare?
Sorry that the instructions were not clear.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah, totally.
No, I think too though, like I don't I know it's a little more fresh for you, but I think one of those things for me too is with family.
Hmm.
I think now having years of it being down the line is like understanding like their side of the change, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Because like I think for me, and I know every parent has a different reason for not accepting their queer child. Um, for me, it was very much like they were grieving potential and grieving like a life plan that had existed in their heads.
No, that's fair.
And it's like it's hard because it's like when you realize your parents are people and not just like these infallible like adults in your life, you're like, dang, I have to come to terms with this.
Yeah, I know a lot of what happened in my situation, especially with my mom, though, also stems from she never really got over what happened with her and my dad as a kid. So, like,
Mm,
when she got married and had a new family with my stepdad, like, I always kind of fight on the outside of that anyway, because I could tell that she still kind of held some of that against me even growing up. Like, it changed very quickly the way I was treated up to like 5, and then like after that, once my brother was born. So, that's something that I've been focusing on, and I totally trauma dumped to my therapist on Friday for the first session because it's just like, oh, why are you here? And then I was like, okay, yeah, a lot of stuff's happened, and then I dove into the family stuff for like a good 20 minutes. So
listen, it means you're comfortable with her.
yeah, she was nice. She's kind of like a temporary one for me though, just until the queer one opens up because I need to be able to go to that one to get like their surgery signed off on eventually.
Oh, is that how it works there?
Yeah, they have like one. I think they only have the one therapist that's like LGBT inclusive and like on like in that can sign off too.
That's so weird that it has to be that specific to get it like signed off.
Yeah, they it has to be through that one person because I'm on like a PCP plan or a HMO, so I have to go to a specific health group.
Oh,
Yeah,
I forgot that American health insurance is
yep.
silly.
All of my health insurance has to go through this one health group, otherwise I can't get insurance. Luckily, though, my insurance is really good when I can get into those doctors. It's just I end up on a lot of wait list. I was on a wait list for therapy for like 2 months since I started my insurance. And like all those surgery wait lists are a long time, and that's just for my consult. So, but it's fine. I'm not in a rush to get any of those done anytime soon, anyway. So,
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. Anytime you talk to me about your journey, I'm like, mine was so different in Canada. I like here in America, and I'm like, you guys are like so anxiety inducing. I don't think I could survive there. You're so
yeah,
strong, girl. I
yeah.
could not do it.
We can dive in a little bit more after this when we get off the air before you go for your plans. We don't need to dive into my trauma on podcast. Everybody's listening.
Listen, that's a different podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole different episode. That's what I bring on someone to interview me. I'm just gonna trauma dump. It's not gonna be a lore dump. It's gonna be trauma dump.
Yeah, like I honestly, podcasting is so interesting as a form of storytelling
Hmm.
because like some people do like APs and podcasts, some people do like just storytelling with their friends. I don't know. I find podcasting so wild and interesting.
Yeah, I like podcasts, and I like it. you forget that you're kind of streaming when you're doing a one-on-one podcast too, because you're just so into the conversation. And then I look over and I'm like tracking time and like, okay, cool, we're actually in this. But I just don't. I never liked the structure of like when I did this, even when me and Jenny had our podcast like a while back, of that just like coming on and asking a rote list of questions, being very professional about it. Like I like the free flow and conversation of it all, and just like maybe we'll have a topic, but like Abigail was on here and her topic was not a topic because we went on so many tangents that I had to rename the episode to ADHD Babble because there was no one topic that we stayed on by the end of it.
See, I feel like it depends because I can see like a more formulated one for like a news podcast,
Yeah,
right?
that makes sense. Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like you just gotta find like the style that works for you. Because like I know this isn't super related, but there's a podcast I've been obsessed with, and it's called Who Shit at My Wedding. I need you to listen to it, like you page and like also anyone listening to this. It's like 13 episodes long, 12 or 13. And it's this couple who had a wedding on a boat and someone pooped on the deck. And they like each episode, they're like talking to experts, figuring out who did it. Like they are doing a forensic investigation. And I need people to listen to it and enjoy it with
Is
me.
it Who Shat on the Floor at My Wedding? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I will follow that and we'll listen to it whenever we
Like
stop hanging out tonight.
it's so fantastic. And that's what I mean. Like podcasting is so cool and wacky and wild because you could literally talk about anything. Like they turned an event at their wedding into a 13-part series.
I love that. I mean, that was the whole concept behind this, was just like, I have a lot of friends with a lot of different fixations. Let's just bring them on and bullshit about all these different things that I hear about anyway, but in a more like environment. Like I had Morgan on here and she talked about Fall Out Boy for an hour and we did not get through their whole discography. We still had like two or three albums left.
So did you do a part two?
We're
Is
going
my
to do a part
question.
two. We have to. They didn't get to finish.
Okay.
We stopped like right after, fuck, was it after Save Rock and Roll? I want to
Okay.
say it was after. It was like not their most recent one for sure. I think it was like a couple albums back. I'm literally looking at Fall Out Boy right now to
I
see
want you
where
to
we left
know
off.
that if I ever come back for a second episode, it's just gonna be a hear me out
You mean
episode.
when you come back? I'm definitely gonna have you back on, obviously.
Well, I just want you to
Uh,
know it's gonna be a hear me out episode where it's just a list of characters where I'm like, okay, but like hear me out on this.
yeah, we got to American Psycho, so like we had like three albums left.
Ooh,
We had Mania, Believers Never Die, and So Much for Stardust still to go through.
I
So
like
it
this.
was a very deep dive in Fall Out. I learned a lot about Fall Out Boy in that session.
Yes.
It's very good though. But yeah, that's the whole premise. I'm very much a person who loves to hear their friends yap about their special interests.
Listen,
Like I'm
I
specifically trying to get through One Piece so I can hear you yap about it to me.
okay, that was the thing. I thought about doing One Piece and I was like, Paige is not caught up.
I'm trying. It's so many. I'm about to start watching it on 2 times speed, honestly, so I can get through more of it.
No.
Yes, I
Don't
have
you
to.
fucking dare. No. I like
See, I have ADHD though, and I can still hear everything and comprehend it at 2 times speed. It's fine.
no, because you're gonna get to parts in where you have to just enjoy it and it's a regular speed.
Okay.
I
I'm
want you
just gonna have to set aside time to watch like two or three episodes a day, just so I can eventually get through this show.
so like it's really funny because my partner tried to do the same thing because where he's at right now,
Hmm.
it's so juicy. It's so salacious. So he tried to play Diablo while watching, and he realized that he just left Diablo running because like he couldn't stop watching.
Yeah, I can't. One Piece is very silly, especially Mutant, but you also like. I can't do anything else watching it because I won't pick it up because there's so much, even in those sillier episodes. I'm like, wait, what did it? What happened? Fuck.
It's it's very funny because like every 5 episodes we meet and we debrief, and then I give him all the manga lore that comes with it that isn't in the anime.
Maybe I should start doing that second through that. Just like watch a handful of episodes and then message you about them.
I'm
Honestly.
just but you had to make time because my partner thought that asking me was just gonna be a simple, easy little
Oh, I
task,
know.
and it was he didn't realize when he looked back down at his phone, there was 47 minutes worth of voice notes of me just
That's
yapping.
fine. That doesn't turn me off to it at all. I'm fine with that.
No, but you gotta make time to listen.
I will. I have headphones in fully at work. I don't need to focus there.
Just you look down, there's like 2 hours worth of notes.
I'm ready
The
for it.
okay, I'm not gonna lie
I don't
though,
even know where I left off. I'm not even 100 episodes yet. I'm like at 68, 69, I think. Let me log into my Crunchyroll. Actually, I think my stop it.
I okay, but I want you to know when you first invited me, I had like so many topics. It was so hard to pick because like one of them was like just a list of hear me out people that I would fuck. Um,
I mean, we can do that episode later. I would totally do that episode.
one was about the history of Neopia in Neopets lore.
Oh my god, fucking Neo. You're not the first person to tell me about Neopets because the Space Jammer has gotten back into playing it a lot. And she was going off about it to me recently, in like the last stream that we did together.
The other one was going to be about how the potato famine was not actually a famine.
The what?
I'll save it next time for you. The potato famine.
Okay, so what
I'll
I'm
save.
hearing is I gotta have you on like every season of this podcast so we can talk about all this random ass shit. Hold on, let's see. One Piece. I am on episode 65. Zoro versus Barak, I think it is. Baroque?
Page.
Yeah. I'm
Page.
trying, bestie. I'm trying.
Page.
Okay, I don't have any plans today. I will watch One Piece, okay? Whenever you jump off tonight, I will go and sit down on my couch and just watch One Piece for you, okay? I'll let you know how much I
Thank
get through.
you. Thank you. My friend has been doing she just had a baby.
Hmm.
She's been making her baby watch one episode a day since birth.
God.
It's been six
That
months. I
baby's
love it
first
for them.
word is gonna be wild.
Gum gum.
It's really funny because I should really watch more of it because I'm in a fucking long running One Piece game now.
I was
Like
gonna
this
say,
game does not
like,
have an endpoint. Like this is really just gonna be like my long running game as a player, and I do not have any of the background knowledge really. I specifically played a merfolk too, so I don't have to worry about devil fruits. It's like I'm not gonna eat a fruit and not be able to swim as a
okay,
merfolk.
so it took me a while for like to realize that you were like more so referencing the fishmen with the merfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you said merfolk, I thought you were at a very different point in the anime. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, that's so cool. She got there
I
so
haven't
fast.
actually seen any of the merfolk on the show yet. Not even close. I just saw it as a playable race. I was like, this could be kind of cool. And then I went from there. So yeah, the only thing I know about merfolk is that when was it like 30 or something from the lore that they mature quickly and their tails split. So like, I don't want to do that because I want to be young and pretty. So I made my character like 22. It's okay. It's okay.
You're hurting me.
Good.
I hate crying.
It's okay. I will eventually be knowledgeable about it as much as I am about Dragon Ball Z, so I can actually talk to you about it. That's how I feel about people who casually watch Dragon Ball Z, because I've seen every episode from Dragon Ball through Super. And even, I don't read the manga, but I go into the manga a lot to see what's going on.
Okay. I'll be honest, I only watched up to Z and I'm caught up on the manga.
You need to watch Super. It's so good.
I know. I'm just
And
like
you need to watch it
there's
before the
very
new one comes out. Daima or whatever it's called is coming out very, very soon.
I know. There's just very few anime I actually want to watch. It's always the manga. I'll be honest, I'm more of a manga person.
Yeah, I can't do it. I want
Like
to, but I just whenever I sit down, it's easier for me to have it like in the background watching it than it is to like sit and read through it.
I'm gonna confess something kind of blasphemous.
Okay, go for it.
The main reason I still watch One Piece is so I can see my favorite manga moments animated, not because I want to keep watching.
I love that for you. That's so
I'm
fair
like
though.
I'm like this is animated so well. This is all I could have ever dreamed.
To be fair, for DBZ and DBS, I like when I rewatch it now. I don't rewatch it from start to finish. I have done that a few times, but like I'll go back to my favorite arcs. So for like Dragon Ball Z, I've watched the Cell saga so many
Mm,
times. And
yeah.
then for Dragon Ball Super, I watched the Tournament of Power like 4 times in a row now, I think, start to finish.
I listen, if you ever have uh my partner on, I just keep referring to him as my partner only
Hmm.
because like I know you know his name, but I never remember which spaces he uses his fleshbag name and which name places he uses his internet name.
That's so fair.
Um, if you ever have him on, he will absolutely just rant at you about Dragon Ball Z. And then you
I would
guys
be
will just be
down.
here
We
for
can
like
have a
3
Dragon Ball
hours.
Z episode. I literally have a Shenron Keyblade on my arm right here because of Dragon Ball Z. It's literally my
Oh
hyperfixation.
my God. You can
It
both
was
just
my,
bond because he's got Shenron on his own.
yeah. Yeah, we talked about this. He has his like a Gyarados
Yes.
Shenron or something.
Yeah, actually he's building out to get different anime dragons to keep the motif
That's
up.
cool. What
Um
Yu-Gi-Oh dragon is he gonna do?
he's looking at Blue Eyes just because like he
Mm,
wants a chest piece.
Blue
And it's
eyes though. There's so many other options.
I wanted him to do Baby Dragon.
Have him do Red Eyes Chick.
Oh, I want him to have Baby Dragon. I'm still
I
team Baby Dragon.
have a Yu-Gi-Oh tattoo on my list, and it's gonna be my first thigh piece, and it's gonna be Dark Magician Girl, but in Dark Magician's robes, as like a little Tran throwaway of like
I
it's gonna be
can't.
dope.
I'm too afraid to get my Yu-Gi-Oh tattoo.
What do you want for your Yu-Gi-Oh tattoo?
I'm getting the polymerization card, but mixed with a dragon and then a Studio Ghibli character.
Ooh.
But the reason I don't want to do it is because it's my other knee.
Oh,
I already
gotcha.
did one knee. It hurt.
Yeah. I don't think I want a
Baby.
knee tattoo, to be honest. I didn't want a
Okay,
thigh tattoo though for the longest time, and I'm starting to run out of space, and I'm like, well, there's so much room there.
that's the problem we find, isn't it?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I would do it again because I do love my knee tattoo.
Hmm.
But I kind of screwed myself over because that's an entire leg I can't get tattoos on.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get tattoos. It's just like the knee piece is so striking on a blank leg that I'm like,
Yeah. Running out of room is definitely an issue. I have the advantage though that I have a lot of tattoos that I need to cover up though now too that I don't like. Um, Two of my tattoos, the first two tattoos I got when I was very cis, I don't really love anymore. Just from a memory standpoint of when I got them. Plus, I have a couple on my chest that I don't really love, and I'm already planning to cover up. And then I have a fucking Harry Potter tattoo, so I needed
yeah,
to fix that, which
um,
honestly is an easy fix because it's just a cool raven. So if I just cover the banner and
mhm.
just block out the Ravenclaw and just put like black out the banner, I think it could still be cool.
Yeah, my advice to you is definitely do a cover up, because I got the Deathly Hollows removed and it
Mm.
took forever
Yep,
to
I
snap.
also have the Deathly Hallows. That's what the A's are in Ravenclaw in this. They're the Deathly Hallows. So I think if I
Um,
just black this out and then maybe put like my middle name there that I chose would be kind of cool
mhm.
instead as like a little rewrite of a Harry Potter tattoo to make it
I'm
trans.
I'm so sorry. I just remembered your initials.
Yes, my initials are great. We don't need to talk about them here though. We don't need to talk about the reason behind me picking my initials.
You know, I think on that note, that's a good
Yeah, I
place
think
to
we can end
end.
this here because this is getting wild. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and plug whatever you want to plug and tell people where they can find you.
Oh goodness, gosh. You can find me on the internet on most websites as sensationally.me, CIN instead of SEN. I sometimes remember to use them, sometimes I don't. I am actually on a new AP starting next Thursday on Bad House RPG, where we're playing Tales of the Valiant in a very cool Eastern setting, where we explore what the world looks like in a post-colonial world.
Perfect.
Where I just play a cute little girl.
Yeah,
Actually,
I
it's one of
mean,
my first female
so
characters in a
this will
while.
air about a month from next week. So
We'll be
About
a
five
couple
weeks from now.
episodes in.
Yeah, well, yeah, it'll be a few episodes into that, but they can catch up. They can catch up when they hear about it from there if they haven't already been watching it.
What else am I doing with my life? I am gonna be on Dungeons and Degrees.
Okay.
Um, I don't know when it'll air, but I'm recording it in October.
all I
That's
know,
that's kind of it for me. I'm in grad school now.
all I know is the moment you graduate from grad school, I'm grabbing you for a long running campaign. We're gonna figure it out. As soon as you have a life again outside of school, we're gonna set it up.
You want to know something that's kind of funky about that?
What?
I was asked if I was interested in pursuing a PhD after, and I
Of
said
course.
probably.
So you're just gonna be in school forever, is what I'm hearing.
Well, okay, like there's so much cool research out there,
Now
and I
I
love
can't
that.
I can't talk because like honestly I've been looking at moving into corporate jobs, and some of them have tuition payment and student loan repayments. I've been like, if I get into this job, I can go grab another degree. So
So there you go.
yeah. But yes, anyway, I will have all the sins links in the descriptions on Spotify, Amazon Music, where else is this? YouTube and Podbean. So go follow them everywhere if you
Ooh,
already don't. But until next time, we will see you guys later. Bye.
bye.